everyone. Welcome back to Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. DJ, it's time for another roundup show. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm ready. I'm ready for the onslaught.
Are you? Well, spoiler
so.
alert, there won't be any news about the X-Men villain Onslaught.
Oh, that's how we're starting. It'd be amazing if that's how the MCU started X-Men.
Wouldn't
Onslaught.
Wouldn't that be the best segue ever, too? Where, like, you didn't... Because I'm not sure if you know about all the news from this weekend. Well, it's funny you should mention, because X-Men 97, their first villain will be Onslaught. I hope they do Onslaught, actually. That would be pretty fun.
Wow. Yeah, you could do that.
Wouldn't that be great? That's not a thing that we really got news for over the weekend. There's a leaked, teaser reel that came out that I didn't watch all of, but one of them was just the producers of X-Men 97 going, yeah, we still had lots of things to say, and we think that our show will be really impactful, just like it was all those years ago. And I'm like, I think you guys should stop talking and let us just see what you made, because that kind of thing doesn't age well if it sucks.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows if they can recapture that? That's going to be interesting.
It's difficult. Anyway, everybody, I mean, I want to be excited about that, don't get me wrong. It's just, the successes of those sorts of, bringing that kind of thing back after so many years, those revivals is few and far between. Anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for watching live. Like I said, tonight's lead-in topic is D23. I'm not going to talk about everything that we heard about over the weekend, but I have pulled up a whopping 20 articles, and I'm going to rapid fire through them. A lot of things I just want to mention real quick. Either here's the thing I'm kind of curious about, here's the thing we know a little bit more about now that I'll talk really briefly about, or here's the thing that I don't want to see, and maybe you'll be excited about it, but why does this...
You're going to turn into Rorschach in the middle of the show?
Exactly. I'm just going to open up a can of beans I didn't heat up first.
Should totally do that on one of these.
Although, you know what, that is my whole summation. Actually, I'm glad you said Rorschach, because when we get into live-action Disney remakes, of which there are at least 4 to mention, some of, I think all of which we kind of knew were coming, but there's, like, new images and things, so I'll just briefly, because some of them I didn't know about, because I haven't been paying attention to that, because I've hated the recent ones that I've looked at. But, man, that is my reaction to just the Disney remakes in general. The animated films were fine like this.
No, fine like that.
Fine like this. Anyway, if you would like to weigh in on anything this evening and you want to make sure that your opinion or your question, thoughts about anything is known, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount that guarantees that we'll chat about whatever you want to, either with any of the rapid fire things that I throw out at the beginning. DJ, I'm gonna have you clock me, man. I'm gonna go 25 minutes. And on these 20 articles, and I don't want to take any longer than that. And if there's some that we miss, we'll hope they come up in questions and super chats afterwards, but I want to give the floor, give the show to the viewers after that. I'm going to spend 25 minutes on D23, and we can spend more time on it after that, but of my just quick scatter shot opinions, I don't want to go any farther than that. So I really mean it when I say rapid fire, like our old rapid fire shows where I try to hit as many things as humanly possible in an hour. I'm going to do it in 25 minutes with 20 announcements and trailers and things. And some things I'll spend a little bit longer on, and some I'll just throw an article up real quick and be like, okay, that's a thing, and then we'll move on. If you don't want to leave a super chat, or you can't do that, that's totally cool. Thanks a lot just for being here. But if you want to try to interact with us, you can also leave a question in the comments without a super chat, and we'll get to a few of those throughout the show as well. And you want to tag DJ Martinez, because he is the question comment reader man, and you can tag him at DJ Martinez, at The Welder, at blank white void. Isn't it sad?
Sad boy.
It's really sad. It's really strange to look at that. So my question real quick, DJ, is did you manage to get videos made of the entire collection?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see those.
That's what I was doing last night when I watched your wonderful Superhero Rewind. I just finished.
Wait, how do you make a video while you're listening to a video?
I finished right before you. I finished like right around 11:50. right before midnight, so I watched like the second half of your video, and it took 4 nights of shooting for like 3 hours every night. I'm gonna edit it down, obviously.
It was 4 days and 4 nights of absolute agony. I reviewed in the rain. I reviewed in the dark.
So Cap's talking about I did a video where I took them all down to pack them.
I'm sorry, you weren't really reviewing, were you? It was a collection video.
Yeah, I just went through everything that I own, and I'm gonna get that up. It's gonna be a long video, but I'm gonna get that up soon. Hopefully, I can get that edited.
He means his DVD and Blu-ray collection. He does not mean everything he owns.
Yeah, every single thing I own. Well, that's pretty much it. I just own Blu-ray. The clothes on my back is all I own. But yeah, I thought about shooting somewhere else tonight because it's so blank. But I was like, no, we should memorialize this moment as I move into the new house on the Captain Logan
How many
show.
times will we be memorializing this moment?
Only twice. We are moving in this Friday.
Goodness. Well, once again, good luck to you, man. And we may or may not see DJ next week. We're playing this totally by ear. So if he is able to be live with us on Tuesday and Thursday, he'll broadcast from wherever he's able to at his new place. And if not, I will either get somebody to fill in for him, or I'll do a solo show or two, which I've done in the past. And we'll manage. We'll get through it.
We will survive.
We'll power through it.
Sounds good. But yeah, it's a lot of whites. It's a lot of blank white wall.
But I know all of our regulars are just imagining what was back there. Like, it's impossible to look at that and see it as blank. All I see are colors. Like, color-coordinated Blu-rays. That's all I see.
Yeah, it's like one of those like optical illusions where you stare at the shapes for so long, and then you look at something white and your eyes fill in the shapes.
Doesn't it also kind of suck when you build something like that custom and you can't take it with you?
I know. God, that's so annoying. We have to get a whole new setup built in the new place.
We designed and built a kitchen at my old house, and we got to live with it for a couple of years was all. And then when we moved, you can't take it with you. And we don't, it's not like dying, but like you can't take it with you. And then we didn't get anything like as nice of a kitchen in this place. And I love my new house, and it's a huge step up in every other way. But that kitchen comparatively, it's better than the kitchen we started with at that old place before we remodeled it, but it's still too small. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's kind
but
of
you shouldn't have that problem with this. I mean, you're going to be able to still build something.
Yeah. I mean, at least the kitchen raises the value of your home. The built-in Blu-ray shelves don't raise the value of the home at all.
You're going to be able to get, you were going to sell your house for like $200,000, but you could get like $200,000 plus $10.
Yeah. That's how it works.
I don't know how his house is valued. I was making up a number.
Yeah. Pay $1,500 for the shelves and you get $10 on the value of your home. That's probably how it works. Right.
No, that's not true. It would probably increase it by about $1,500, but it might as well be $10 when we're talking about home value. Anyway, Let's go ahead and jump into all of the D23 news and stuff that I want to talk about. So we had Disney Plus Day last Thursday, and we didn't really weigh in too much on stuff happening there. I'll have you start my clock here in a second, because there wasn't a lot of new announcements that day, and I decided to just save it all for today. And like I said, a lot of the stuff I'll mention today is stuff that either we knew about already, but we have a little bit in the way of new developments. This whole event, DJ, for a lot of people was pretty lackluster, was pretty lacking. I've heard people say, I think somebody right before the show started was like, today's Nintendo Direct was more exciting. And I've heard people complain really hard that there wasn't enough of interest that came out of that. There's a guy I watch, this is an aside, but there's a guy I watch that was complaining about all the farm simulator RPGs that were announced today for Nintendo Direct. Like, how could you have so many at one time? There were like 4 of them. It was just about like farming crops and fighting bad guys.
2 of my favorite pastimes.
So weird. Anyway, so I heard about everything announced for that Nintendo Direct, or at least some of it. I'm not going to talk about that, of course, but I disagree. I think this was slightly more exciting than that. The only thing there that I was interested in was Goldeneye finally coming to Switch, and possibly a remaster coming to Xbox. We're not totally sure what's going on with that, but there is some version of that game also coming to Xbox. So that is legitimately exciting. Although I wish we were getting a ground up remake of that game, but alas. Hey, as long as it's got twin sticks now, I'm good.
That's crazy. I did not hear about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we should talk about that quickly, because I know people were disappointed. I think that's kind of actually cool that the people that paid for the event got to get, because I would be annoyed if I paid all this money to go to this event and then everything just got released anyway at the same time. Like, yeah. I think it's actually kind of cool that they gave them a special weekend that they can enjoy and have a couple weeks before the rest of the world knows about the stuff.
Yeah, I guess the big question is, if we saw everything that they saw, would fans still be a little bit disappointed in the event? Was some of it just what was announced or not? There wasn't a whole lot that really came out to people, or was it that there was stuff but we didn't get it? You had to actually be there at the event. Like, there were some trailers for Marvel movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp and some things like that, and again, scissor reels and stuff. But I think compared to in some previous years with events like this, with like Marvel announcements, Star Wars announcements, stuff like that, it's kind of a just smaller year for announcements. Like, don't get me wrong, there's way too much stuff. Like, I complain about this all the time, but we're still really oversaturated, and it's about quantity over quality right now for content. And just looking at the list of everything with Marvel and Star Wars in particular, I found myself really overwhelmed, but most of it we knew about already.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of Marvel things that are pretty exciting, and that I'm legitimately kind of stoked to talk about, or at least curious about. So anyway, but I mean, that is a terrific point. Like it does suck when too much gets leaked, and it's like, why didn't I even bother going?
Yeah, that's what I think. But no, I'm excited to jump into it, because I looked at a list briefly, just enough to make the thumbnail, and then I kind of. I didn't have time to really sink my teeth into. So I'm just going to be a fan this show and listen to you talk.
Well, obviously interrupt me and feel free to weigh in on anything that you have stuff to say about, whether you knew about it ahead of time or not. If I bring up anything you didn't know about, you're like, oh, hey, that sounds cool. Like, feel free to jump in. And right. I'm talking specifically to DJ, but you guys obviously leave comments and things as well. Thanks a bunch, Goofster, for that $20 super chat. We'll get to that in a little bit. Feel free to leave comments and super chats, and DJ, of course, is modding, and he will compile everything. But it will be 25 minutes before I get to any of that, because I'm going to go on the clock. Whoa, hello. I'm just kidding.
Making sure I don't lose power halfway through this. That would be bad.
DJ and I get very close.
I mean, if you missed the last show, we told each other that we love each other. We declared our love, so.
We did, yeah. It was a special moment. I didn't sleep that night. So let's go ahead and get into it. DJ, would you please put 25 minutes on the clock? Stop me when the clock runs out. If you have a way to give us an audible timer, I mean, an audible like alarm or something, that'd be pretty great.
We're bringing back the old timer, guys.
Here it comes. Much longer than it once was with me and Vince.
25-minute timer.
25 minutes. Jedi Knight, at least I got Fire Emblem and Kirby, which is more than I can say about D23. Yeah, and Fire Emblem's a series I don't care about. I need to start playing more Kirby games, because it seems like, for whatever reason, that's the franchise that Nintendo has put more of their heart and soul in the last couple of years. There's been a lot of good, a few years.
That's called Night Owl.
And when you hear
I figured that was appropriate, yeah.
No, that's a good idea, since I'm Rorschach, and I feel like pop culture is fine like this. But let's talk about the ways in which Disney is going to continue to ruin it for us. And give us some potentially cool stuff. Oh my god, it's already started. Okay, so
just the first hold it and pressure you the whole time.
I'm going to start with things that I'm excited about. Marvel's Captain America, cross Black Panther game, 4 new things we just learned. So this is from Kotaku.com. I'm not going to read down all these articles, but but just telling you some places where you could read about these things. So we found out, DJ, that we're getting a World War II set game with Black Panther and Captain America. A really interesting crossover kind of thing. What a strange but intriguing choice. It says the World War II setting was picked because it was a formative era for Steve Rogers. Nah, something that might be fun to cross over with Black Panther. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be T'Challa's grandfather, not T'Challa. So this is not some kind of a weird like what if or Elseworlds kind of thing. It'll fit kind of nicely in a standard Marvel universe. I don't know if this with some other Marvel games makes its own like video game universe. I don't know if it fits in with Wolverine and with the what is that, Midnight Suns and all of that stuff, or if it's its own thing, but I guess we'll find out. I don't know that it really matters that much, or if it will, but it says it's structured like a TV series, which they describe as being a bingeable serialized adventure. Everything I'm hearing about this is really awesome. Exciting, and you're going to be able to play as two human characters as well, one on Captain America's side and one on Black Panther's side. I think they're new made-up characters. Maybe, I'm not totally sure, but they're kind of sidekicks for those characters. It's kind of a spy game. I saw the teaser trailer, which doesn't have any gameplay footage, of course, but the graphics look really nice, and it's really cinematic looking, and it looks real moody, and I'm stoked. This would be a system seller for me. When it sounds like, I mean, we'll get more footage down the road, but I haven't bought a new system yet, what do you call it? One of the current gen consoles. But with more superhero things coming out that sound really interesting, I probably will finally have to soon. Okay, speaking of video games, I'll mention this real briefly. 1995 Gargoyles game is getting a remaster. What an interesting choice. This is the Genesis game that had really cool graphics back in the day. I couldn't progress anywhere in that game, and this is another one of those kind of notoriously difficult, I think, kinds of games, but it looked really neat back then. I don't know if, I can't remember if it was pre-rendered graphics or what, but it's getting the same treatment that some other Disney games have gotten, like Lion King and Aladdin, which I have, that came out on the same Switch cartridge, and I think they've done this with one or two other things now. We just had and I haven't bought it yet, but we just had a bunch of Ninja Turtles games that came out in a compilation like this that looks fantastic, and I can't wait to do a Cap Can't Play on. I just haven't pulled the trigger and bought it yet because I haven't had the time. But anyway, this is really intriguing because Gargoyles is, of course, not a property that is currently going. It got a board game a couple of years ago also, and all of this kind of makes me wonder if Disney might not be testing the waters a little bit to see how much interest there still is in the property to maybe bring it back and do some sort of a revival for that as well. I don't know if the original showrunner would come back for it, but people have wanted that forever. Is that Greg Wiseman, or is that I can't remember. I can't remember what that guy's name is. It's just been too long. But anyway, so that's the thing I'm intrigued by and will probably pick up. And then here's the thing that I might be the only person here that will care about. But we are getting a Disney Plus series for the Electric Mayhem from the Muppets. And the idea is, and I just watched the Muppet movie again a couple nights ago with my family, one of my favorite family kids movies. And I think this is a really neat idea. They released a new version of one of the big songs from that movie. The timing was so weird, DJ, because I just sat down and watched that again. But can you picture that? Can you picture? And they just released a new version of that, and some of the voices sound really close, and some of them don't sound just like the originals, of course, but are close enough or are cool new takes. Like their Dr. Teeth, I don't think sounds like Dr. Teeth, but I like it. It's close enough. Like it's pretty good. So the premise is, I thought it might be a prequel thing, but it isn't. The premise is the Electric Mayhem never had a studio recorded album album, so they're finally trying to get their own kind of level of music fame, like Kermit and the Muppets got with the standard Rich and Famous contract in the Muppet movie, and they're recording their first album, and I'm like, that's a great premise. I hope it ends up being a great show, of course, but I will be there for that.
Wow.
I don't know if you're a Muppet guy, but that's...
So I don't know anything about
Muppets.
Do they take place in real time? Are they all in the same continuity? Is it just canon that Muppets don't age ever? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great. You can do Muppet stuff anytime you want to. Go back and watch the original Muppet movie from 1978. I think you'd like that a lot. If we ever do another... more of those kind of maybe watch commentaries. What were we calling those? They were the mystery commentaries. If we ever come back, or were those kind of separate things?
Well, we did a couple mystery, but I think Streaming Wars was just our commentary show.
That's what it was. Yeah. You'd pick a thing, and maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't, and vice versa. But yeah, I might pick a Muppet movie or two for you at some point, because I think you'd enjoy those. The original I think it's 1978, and then there's Muppets Treasure Island is really good. The Muppets Christmas Carol is really good, and then the revival movie, The Muppets, is quite brilliant. It's kind of like UHF with The Muppets. And anyway, those are the four that I would most recommend. And there's some others in there that are pretty good, too. Muppets Take Manhattan is fine. And anyway.
Cool.
But anyway, so that's the thing I'm excited about. And then moving right along. So this is the Disney Plus Marvel thing that I'm suddenly more excited about than anything else, having looked at this trailer. And I try not to get my hopes up over trailers, because as I always say, trailers are there to try to get you to watch a thing, not to tell you what's really in it. But if the tone of this show is anything close to what's in this trailer, I feel like I personally could be in for a treat. I feel like we might be finally getting the at least spiritual successor to Winter Soldier that Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been, but in my opinion wasn't. I watched the teaser for Secret Invasion, and I think it looks really cool. I didn't realize it was going to be as Nick Fury centered as it seems like it's going to be, and it seems like he's just the protagonist of that piece. It's got a real serious, kind of sober tone, at least with that trailer. What little we're seeing in the special effects department looked really good. It looks very cinematic. It's making me kind of wish it was on the big screen, because none of these things have really stuck the landing yet for me, at least of the shows that I've seen, because I haven't seen all of anything yet. And we're finally in a place where there's even a show out right now that I've not watched one episode of yet. I still haven't looked at She-Hulk. I've got to do that. But the scroll makeup looks great, and we've only got a shot or two of that. But it's it feels like a really somber kind of spy thriller with a really nice mystery component, like you would expect for Secret Invasion for that premise. Maybe a little smaller, a little more understated than I thought it might go. It's weird, DJ, thinking back that for a while there was a lot of speculation that Secret Invasion would be the next big event phase for terminology, not phase, but like you had the what are we calling the more overarching thing with Marvel? You know what I'm saying?
Saga.
Thank you. You had too many things to talk about. You had the Infinity Saga, and then last night on Rewind, I talked about 50 movies all at the same time, and now I'm having to do this, and just my brain's about
very impressive
to explode. Thanks. This not so much, but anyway. So you had you had the Infinity Saga. I think a lot of people thought that the next saga was going to be the Secret Invasion saga, and you'd be wondering all through a bunch of different movies and TV shows who's a Skrull and who isn't. And it looks like it's going to be a much smaller, more understated thing. I hope the questioning of what characters might be Skrulls will be kind of intriguing in that show, and that won't be paid too much lip service to, that there are maybe some major characters that all along have been Skrulls and we didn't realize it, because that was the whole point of that event. And I also hope that, kind of like Civil War, they're able to improve on that material a little bit. I haven't read Secret Invasion in a long time. I think I finished it at one point. It doesn't stick. Yeah, I've read that, but it doesn't really stick with me. So, I think that there's, cool stuff you could do in improving on that material. But I don't know. It looks like old man Nick Fury, and I'm surprisingly kind of excited to see that after seeing that trailer. I'll just mention real briefly, there's another trailer for Andor, which I don't have much extra to report or comment on, except to say that I've been more and more curious about that series. I didn't think I cared when it was first announced, because I was like, I don't even remember any of the characters from Rogue One, even though I liked that movie. It's like, why do we need a prequel for that? But again, just tonal stuff. It feels so different and like a kind of a old school movie epic than any of the other Star Wars stuff that we've had so far. It doesn't feel gimmicky. It seems like it might be really character driven. The only new thing I saw in that trailer was Forrest Whitaker, and maybe he was in the other trailer. I'm not surprised he's in that, because he's, you know, a major character in Rogue One, and that connects up with the Clone Wars and stuff, I think. Or at least I've been told that, because I don't know that show. But I will actually probably watch that. I don't know that I'll review it, but I'm probably going to take a look at it. And then this has been all over the news ever since the stage, or the, I don't know if I can't say panel, but like the event on stage where Harrison Ford came out and talked about Indiana Jones 5. Just an article from Polygon. Harrison Ford really seems to care about Indiana Jones, and it's infectious. People get excited when Harrison Ford's excited about things because it's rare. And everybody just thinks of Harrison Ford as the shy actor who doesn't really care about Star Wars and wishes people would stop asking him about it. So by contrast, the other big major pop culture icon he's played in Indiana Jones is a character that he actually really likes playing and wants to do every time, the couple of times he's come back to do it again, and it's near and dear to him, and he doesn't have that with Han Solo, a character that he thought should have been killed after the first movie. And so when he talks, you know, passionately about a beloved genre fan thing, people are like, oh my god, Harrison Ford. Yeah, Harrison Ford has always cared about Indiana Jones. This is not news. What might be is just the fact that he seems more than sincere about the quality of that movie. He kind of came to tears a little bit on stage, and I don't want to be mushy about it myself, but what that tells us is we might actually have a Logan situation on our hands, because he wasn't misty-eyed about the last one. And, you know, it's the same director with Logan. He hasn't really made a lot of bad movies. I don't like his Johnny Cash biopic like other people do, but it's not a bad movie. I just don't like Joaquin Phoenix as that historical figure, is the long and short of it. But I think I'm more intrigued about that movie after seeing the way he reacted on stage, just talking about the way that's come together. And he was kind of amusing about how this is absolutely the last one, and he says, I'm not going to fall down for you people anymore, which is pretty good. Anyway, how much time is left on the clock?
11 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, I can get at least 2 more things mentioned in that time. Loki Season 2 adds Huy Quan of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Aren't we glad this guy's getting work? As soon as he showed up in Everything Everywhere, this is, of course, a short round, speaking of Indiana Jones, everybody was like, this guy hasn't acted in a million years. And then now he's getting roles thrown at him, and that's pretty great. I can't, like, I'm lukewarm on Loki. I thought that first season was okay. I liked it more than a lot of people, and I didn't review it, but the premise and, you know, the setup and the trappings of that, the kind of quirky sci-fi stuff is very much me, but I was as bored as everybody else with the 900-minute long speech at the end from Kang about how the multiverse and time travel works, and my brain exploded. And then the MCU on the whole doesn't seem to necessarily know what he was talking about either. I'm not totally sure. So anyway, I will watch another season of that. I'm not like stoked for it or anything, but I am glad to see that guy getting work, and I'm curious to see what role he's playing and what he ends up doing there. Again, stop me at any time, DJ.
No, that's awesome. He was amazing in that movie, and I want to see him again.
I just want him for Superman now. Okay, so we've also got some announcements for Disney and Pixar things. I'll just go through this very briefly. The only thing that really piqued my interest was Inside Out 2, which I don't know if we knew that was coming already or if that was a big announcement, but it was news to me. So, you know, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. And apparently, there are a couple of actors that are not coming back from that. This is not mentioning that, but I have read somewhere, because this says the voice of Joy, Amy Poehler, was announced at D23. They'll have to wait until its premiere in summer of 2024, so this is a ways away, to see how joy, sadness, anger, and disgust deal with puberty. Apparently, at least a couple of those actors aren't coming back, so I don't know if they're being replaced or if those characters just aren't returning. Fear specifically, and I think Fear and Sadness, both those actors weren't returning.
Weird. It seems like you'd have to replace them. You can't just, well, she doesn't have those emotions anymore.
They're on vacation. I don't really know how that works.
All the emotions are in full effect. That's cool. I didn't know about that. But that is a weird recasting situation because all of those voices are so distinct because of who they're playing.
You might be able to find sound-alikes, sort of. I don't know. Then there's a movie that was announced called Elemental, which is a love story between fire and water, I guess, who are or characters that are made of fire and water, and they're not able to touch because they're fire and water, but they fall in love, I guess is the idea there. And then there is another movie announced called Elio, which is, this is the one about space aliens. It says, 11-year-old dreamer Elio is an artistic, creative, and avid indoorsman who finds it hard to fit in. Meanwhile, his mom runs a top-secret military project working to decode a strange signal from outer space, but it's Elio who makes contact, gets beamed into space, and is subsequently mistaken for an intergalactic ambassador for Earth. That sounds almost like an old-school Pixar premise, and that could be cool. Both of those sound fine.
Yeah, I'm glad Pixar's still doing original stuff.
Me too.
I mean, I'll watch their sequels, but I haven't ever really loved their sequels except for Toy Story 2. But
I'm a big fan of both Monsters movies.
Yeah, I know you've talked a lot about University.
I think University is just as good as that first movie. We can agree to disagree. I'm with you though. Their sequels on the whole have not been as good as their originals. But then in the last 10 years, not all of their originals have been great either. So, and then Disney. Animation announced something called Strange World, which I'm just now finding out about here. I didn't even know about this. About an incredible family who must get past their differences to save a strange world full of danger and surprises.
I saw the trailer for that.
Wholly generic. Oh, okay.
It's a really cool trailer. It's shot like an old school sci-fi, not sci-fi, like an adventure serial type thing.
Oh, really neat. Cool, I may have to take a look at that. And then there's another one called Wish. How did the wishing star upon which so many characters wished come to be? I don't write off care.
But prequel for the wishing star.
Yeah. Do we need that?
That's the best prequel I've ever heard.
Okay, I'm gonna rush through a few other things real quick. Mandalorian season 3 has a trailer. I don't understand everything in it because I still have not finished. Boba Fett, because I thought Boba Fett was boring. I watched 2 episodes of it, and it was fine, and then people said that it degenerates into a cartoon show, and I didn't get around to finishing it, but people also said the back half of it just turns into Mandalorian Season 2.5, and that you absolutely have to see it to understand what's going to happen in the next season. So all I got from that trailer is he took off his mask, so he doesn't get to be called the Mandalorian anymore, even though the title of the show is still The Mandalorian, and there's a bunch of other Mandalorians that are kind of colorful looking characters, and he's still running around with Baby Yoda. So I was wrong in my prediction that Baby Yoda would be gone for a little while. Maybe he was through more of Boba Fett, but I've heard he's in that show too. So I was totally off base there, apparently. But I like I like how much more colorful that season looks. It looks kind of exciting, and I will definitely continue watching it. I like that show quite a bit, and I think I watched several Star Wars things, but I think that was where there was a Clone Wars era starfighter. That was pretty neat that was there, and I like the kind of blending of time periods. Not time periods, but things from different time periods that happened there. Okay, this was kind of a major announcement. Thunderbolts, we finally have a character roster for, and it's going to star Sebastian Stan, which, even though I didn't like on the whole Falcon Winter Soldier, I think it's kind of neat if he is the leader of that team. That kind of makes a lot of sense, because he'll be leading characters who, some of them anyway, have been kind of bad guys of their own accord and are trying to go down a path of redemption, and he never really had a chance either direction. So that's kind of a good idea, and I just think it's going to be weird for audiences that didn't bother with some of the Disney Plus shows. It'll be interesting to see if that performs in the theater, DJ, because it's so heavily predicated on knowledge of either shows that not everybody would have seen or movies that we know didn't really perform. 2 of the 5 of the main roster for Thunderbolts are characters from the Black Widow movie. That seems like potentially a mistake to me. You've got the new Black Widow, and then you've got, what's his name, the red guy. Something
Black
red.
Widow's dad.
What is his name? I forget. And, like, I liked him fine in that movie, but that's not going to be a huge selling character for people. And then U.S. Agent, which makes sense in theory. It's just, I don't think that show was very good, so I hope he's better written. And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is pulling them all together. She's kind of the Amanda Waller of that, and I have found her obnoxious so far in her scenes. So we'll see how all that comes together. I'm not writing it off, because I like Stan a lot. And I hope Falcon gets some kind of a part, if not a cameo there somewhere. Falcon, Captain America now. Anyway, how many minutes are left on the clock? I'm going to guess 5. 3? Okay, I guess we needed a prequel about Mufasa from Lion King. This is a great article that I found from boingboing.net, which just sums up my feelings about this whole thing perfectly, by a guy named Devin Neely. Despite being one of the most beloved characters in the history of Disney movies, I doubt there was a single fan of the original Lion King that thought, I wonder how Mufasa became an original, or became Lion King. However, in the current era of Disney, it doesn't matter if anyone asks for a sequel, prequel, or remake. Disney is going to make sure you consume as much content as they can generate for a single IP. And the idea here is it's a young Mufasa, and it's a story being told, I guess, bookended with Timon and Pumbaa, so it's got like a Lion King 1.5 kind of component
like
to it.
1.5? That's amazing.
Or 1.5, whatever that was called. Yeah. Who could possibly care? But I'm sure it will make money. Yeah.
I'll tell you how Mufasa
They've got
became
zero
king.
shame. They got no shame.
I'll tell you how Mufasa became king. It's because their father was even worse than Odin, and he had 2 kids, and he named one literally King.
Isn't it going to be just sort of the same story again? Isn't the whole point of The Lion King the circle of life? History is cyclical. If you've seen The Lion King, you've seen this movie. Like, and then I love the end of this article, quoting Mr. Neely again. At this rate, Disney will greenlight an Aladdin prequel about how he became an impoverished orphan. That would not remotely surprise me. Hey, there's other, if you love all of the live-action Disney remakes, and who doesn't?
Can't get enough of them.
There are a bunch more of them that are all coming out at once, so that they have nothing left to go back to, and they have to make more things like Mufasa. Why does Mufasa have to have Lion King in the title? Everyone knows who that is. That's the most, insulting. We don't trust our audience. There's no way we make $1 billion on this movie if it doesn't say the Lion King in it. Come on, everybody knows what that is.
They should have called it Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa.
Live action Snow White. No thank you. Live action Little Mermaid. Over 104 million views for this teaser trailer. It's like, we get it. That movie was popular. Come on, guys. Why are you still trusting in any of these live action remakes?
Are you ready for realistic Sebastian the Crab?
No, I don't need that. Are you ready for what's her face is Ursula? Who's playing her? That casting choice is irritating. I can't think of actor names today. Is it still
Melissa McCarthy?
It is Melissa McCarthy. That's who it is.
Wow.
God. Anyway, I saw the teaser. It was her singing 3 seconds of the I Want to Go to the Surface song. And, okay. She looked half CG in the face. I really hope the whole movie's not like that. Well, what do I care? I'm not going to see it. I'm so done with these live-action remake things. But I have to mention them because they bother me. Okay, and that's it. That's all you get.
25 minutes. Night Owl has just sounded.
Well, there were 6 more articles up that I didn't get to, and
Wow.
Most of them were things that I was just going to click on real quickly, so I'm not going to spend any time talking about these things, but I will just cheat for a second and say, hey, Peter Pan and Wendy! And they're making a really big deal out of how Peter Pan and Wendy are equals. Look, we get it. This is how this is like the modern way to do things now, okay? You're not getting any points. I guess I am commenting on this. You're not getting any points, DJ, for, you have a strong female character in your remake of a thing where she was kind of more in the background, or it was just, the guy's movie. Like, you put her name in the title. Everyone's gonna expect that. Whether you want that or not, just make your movie. Stop talking about looking at patting ourselves on the back. Look at us. Wendy's gonna have more to do this time. Who cares? Just make your movie. I hate that. Stop it.
This one I'm actually interested in because it's David Lowery's directing.
Yeah.
And he just directed The Green Knight, which is my second favorite movie from last year. And he did Pete's Dragon, which is, besides Jungle Book and Cinderella, the only other good remake that they've made. Pete's Dragon's a good movie. And Peter Pan
I don't even agree with that, and I'm so done with these remakes, but I actually like some of them more than you do. At least Beauty and the Beast, except for the crappy songs that they added. I actually like that one. But anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, so I like him. Hopefully he's able to do what he wants to do and he's not completely reined in and suffocated. But and the fact that it's Disney Plus exclusive kind of gives me pause, but hopefully he's able to do something good. And Peter Pan and Wendy is the name of the original book by J.M. Barrie, so that's not them throwing it too much, but I do hate that they always have to give these press conferences where they have to announce. Just don't talk about your movies, just make the movies.
Yeah. That's what I wish. I'm not saying the movie's going to be bad because the actress playing Wendy is like, look at us, we're equals now.
Plus, Wendy is the protagonist of Peter Pan.
It would be like if you did an Alice in Wonderland and you were like, Alice is going to be just as important as, I don't know, the Cheshire Cat. Yep.
Well, she already is. Wendy is the protagonist of Peter Pan. Peter Pan's not. It starts with her. She goes to Wonderland or Neverland, gets into stuff with Peter Pan, then she goes back home and it ends with her. Like, Peter is not the protagonist.
Yeah.
He's just the mythical.
He isn't Hook because that was a different kind of thing.
That is true. That is
that the problem? Everyone remembers Hook, but they don't remember Peter Pan.
Probably.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna blow through these. Star Wars: Tales of the Jedi is a animated set of shorts about Ahsoka with a younger Count Dooku, which I don't really care about, but people might want to see that. And if I ever bother finally going through Clone Wars, I'll watch that. Werewolf by Night teaser, which looked interesting, but kind of tonally odd, at odds with itself, where it wants to be Hammer horror, but it's got too many elements of modern horror, particularly just in the way it's being shot and stuff, where it doesn't seem authentic to the period that they're trying to make it, at least the way the trailer is put together. But the trailer is also made like a grindhouse trailer, so I'm hoping that the actual piece itself finds its footing a little bit more and is as authentic to old school Hammer horror as WandaVision was to the sitcoms that it was lampooning, and that's going to be just an hour-long Halloween special on Disney Plus. I think it's cool they're doing stuff like that, as long as they're not, horribly phoned in, because it is about getting out as much content as possible, but some of this is the kind of thing that I always wanted to see, just a variety of different kinds of things from Marvel that aren't all the superhero formula, and that could be of different lengths and stuff. Like Guardians is getting a special this year. That's pretty neat, that Gunny is directing. I just hope that stuff is good. And then, We talked about the Thunderbolts lineup a little bit. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur I'll just mention because DJ put it in the thumbnail. But the only thing I wanted to say about that, that doesn't look like a thing that's really for me. I'm probably not going to watch that. That's going to be a kid show on the Disney Channel. But I want more stuff like this that's just that's animation with art lifted directly from the comics. It looks exactly like that book, and I think that's really cool. It looks like a real kind of kinetic, quick-paced kind of animated show, and again, it's not really my thing, but I think it's cool that we're getting stuff like that. And then Quantumania, we learned about a few new things, and it got a trailer that we've not seen yet, but that was shown at D23, and the main thing that we learned from that trailer apparently is just the plot point that Scott has to do a heist for Kang in the quantum realm because he's kidnapped his daughter Cassie, which is immediately not interesting to me at all, but hopefully it ends up being all right and works out okay. It's like, well, these are all supposed to be heist movies, so now we have to have a heist inside the quantum realm, and we've upped Cassie's age just so that she can get kidnapped. All right. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's everything I wanted to mention. I'm sure there's lots of other stuff people want us to talk about. We've got a few super chats. DJ, yeah. why don't you let the audience take us wherever they will? And it can be about D23. It can be about anything else within reason as well. The show is yours. The show is yours.
Okay. All right, I'll just go in order because some of them are about D23 and some are not.
I blocked my microphone with my arm. Did you see that? I was like, can you hear me now?
Cap's getting too swole. He's been working out too much. It's just covering up the whole microphone at this point.
Not nearly enough. Okay, go ahead.
T-Edge1, $5. Great show tonight, guys. Top
Thanks.
5.
I'm pretty sure you left that before there was a show, but I really appreciate that. I'm sorry, what was it?
He has such faith in us.
He really does.
He says it
yeah.
before we even start. He says,
yes, Senior Nerd, I did see the MODOK design. I don't like it. But we saw that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the super chat, but that came out a couple of weeks ago, even before D23. I forget what the context of it was, if it was like a toy or something. I'll bring it up. It's unfortunate. He's going to be boring. It's going to be like Galactus Cloud again.
Like Zemo again?
Well, Zemo was at least kind of creative.
Well, I'm just talking about Zemo in Civil War, like when we first saw him. He's just a dude.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, it's not just a dude. They made him kind of like oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking a different character, not Zemo. The other guy in Captain America that starts with a Z. I thought you meant him because he gets his brain put in a computer.
Oh,
instead
no.
having his head in the stomach of, having like a head in the stomach.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Krang.
Zola.
Zola.
We always do this.
Artem Zola. Zaslav. Whoa,
anyway, yeah, I'll bring this up. Have we not talked about this yet? Yeah, this came out a few weeks ago. It was just a poster. But yeah, look at that. That's what they did to MODOK.
Wait, what?
What are you doing?
What? That's just like concept art, right?
Yeah, but that's what he's gonna look like.
He's gonna be like the little bug robot from Spy Kids. Is that full? Is he small? Is that big? Like, what am I looking at? I can't even. I need scale. I can't even tell what I'm looking at.
And then I guess this is from that trailer.
Oh dang! So I guess he's.
Okay. Well, at least he's got. I mean, that's closer. So he's got a helmet. It looks like that comes off.
Oh, okay. Well,
is that what it is?
If there's anything we've learned from MCU, it's they have a helmet for one scene and then they never wear it again.
Well, that would be beneficial in the case of MODOK, because MODOK shouldn't have a helmet.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, as always, I don't know.
You can make any MODOK work, you just got to make it work.
I was just going to say, I'm reserving judgment until we see it in action, but I can be disappointed initially with what I'm seeing and going, I hope that works out. Like, I don't like it right off. But I've had this with other stuff. I mean, literally, the only thing that I'm being hyperbolic. One of the only things that I thought was fine in, for instance, X-Men Apocalypse was the Apocalypse design. Like, that movie's terrible, but everyone's like, oh my god, look at him, he looks like Ivan Ooze. And I'm like, just look at it in context, it'll be okay. And then that was fine. Just everything else about the movie was terrible. HB Haga says, no, he's sitting on a robot. Oh. Okay. Blue Dragon 5 says that's from the game. Oh, it is. Okay. Well, now we've seen what he kind of looks like. Wait, the Quantumania game. Is that what that is?
No, I think that second one you showed was from the Avengers.
Oh, that's... Okay. Well, then I don't know if there's anything new besides the first thing I showed.
Mutali says hopefully it looks better than Hector Hammond.
Yeah, good call. Okay, so somebody let me know, have we seen anything new besides this concept art? Because apparently the other thing I showed was from a video game. Okay, let's get to that super chat that you were trying to read me before I interrupted you and then went, why am I even talking about this? I'm apparently not prepared.
All right, you ready to go back to T-Edge 1?
I really am.
Great show tonight, guys. Top 5 worst CGI moments in movies. And then he says, well, he has a lot here. Thoughts on today's Nintendo Direct? I hope they adapt the prequel book for Mufasa. You rock.
Tom, you're the only person here that's read that, I guarantee it. Let me know in the comments if you've read the prequel Mufasa book. But there maybe there's cool things in that I don't know about. I'll be shocked if anybody else here has read that. Tom goes to some obscure things that I don't know why people even publish. I guess they publish it for Tom. Okay, so I'm just messing with you, Tom. Thanks for the super.
So this is what I was referencing earlier.
Yeah.
I know something about this. I read something about this online. Apparently, Mufasa does mean king in Swahili.
Yes.
And in the prequel book, it talks about how Scar's real name is Taka, which in Swahili is garbage. So their parents named him King and Garbage. Like, what are you doing?
That immediately makes Scar about 50% more sympathetic, doesn't it?
Yes. What a horrible father.
Like, you'd take over Pride Rock and overfeed your hyenas and... Somebody explain to me how doing all of that makes the sky all gray. I've never understood that.
Well, I mean, the crops are all dying and they're
not
releasing oxygen.
5 bad CG moments. We're going to go back and forth to compile a list very quickly.
Oh, gosh. Top 5
DJ,
is so
help
impossible.
me out. I'm going to start with one, and you think of another one and throw it out at me, okay?
Okay.
And this doesn't have to just be superhero. He said just in movies. My brain is going to go to superhero first, of course, and I'm going to begin with Doomsday in BVS. That's my first one. Why don't you throw out something?
Oh, I can absolutely top that one.
Can you?
The ending of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where they turn into those big giant monsters, and it looks hilarious.
That's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna go now to the second Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser with the reveal of the Scorpion King.
Yeah, that's a classic.
We need 2 more.
Oh, I'm gonna go MCU and say Mark Ruffalo's little like squished head in the Iron Hulkbuster outfit in Infinity War.
Okay.
They kept cutting back to, and he just looks so weird in there.
That's pretty rough. That is pretty rough. Okay, I gotta think of one more.
Just stop opening it. Don't open it. We don't need to see his face. We can hear his voice. We know he's in there.
See, I complain about badly integrated CG all the time, and I guess just Green Lantern, the movie.
Green Lantern, the movie.
Like, I have to pick a particular thing, but it's like, you've got all these Green Lanterns that look like a CG character with just a human head, like, floating on top of it. That's the movie. It should have just been an animated film. It would have been a lot better. Those are the first things that come to mind. There's obviously lots and lots of other things we could have gone to. And one of mine wasn't superhero, and I'm proud of that. So, DJ, what else did he mention?
The middle part was Nintendo Direct, yeah.
I did mention Goldeneye. That's really the only thing from that jumped out at me that I wanted to briefly mention. I wish it was a straight-up remake, but hopefully it's... And apparently for Switch, they're not even remastering it, which is kind of a bummer, which makes me think that I haven't looked deeply into this. That makes me think that they're probably just doing that as part of their online thing with 64 games. But I'm hoping that on Xbox it'll be remastered to the point of just, clearing up graphics a little bit and giving you a second stick. Having it a little bit closer to standard modern third-person shooter or first-person shooter controls.
Yeah, that's really cool. Someone in the chat said they did confirm they are using that name, Garbage, in the prequel, which is amazing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, now I see why Tom said that. I feel bad for making fun of Tom about that, but I just thought that was really funny, where he's like, who else here has read Lion King novels? Okay, good.
Apparently that's a big one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is a super chat? Wants to know for his $2 super chat.
Yeah.
How does time work?
Well, as far as we know, it only goes forward. But it's, there's theories. It's possible you can go backwards, but don't do that because you might blow up the universe. Nobody knows how time travel works. It goes forward. And it is pretty easy to time travel forward if you can get in a spaceship and get close to the sun, because that's just time dilation, which would effectively feel like time travel, because once you got back to Earth, however long you were out there, and when you came back, you would age slower than everybody else. So effectively, it would be time travel forward. That's all I got. Good.
Brightburn 1985 $4.99. Yeah. Cap.
Yes.
Do you think Charade kind of feels like a Bond film? And have you talked about it with DJ yet?
No. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have seen Charade. I did not really love it when I watched it.
I liked it a lot. I think I liked it more talking about it with Austin because that's so much his kind of thing.
Yeah, but maybe if I talked about it with someone whose thing it was, but I never like spy stuff. I'm pretty hard out on spy stuff.
I enjoyed it more as a love story, though. I thought it was a good rom-com. I thought it was a good period rom-com that had trappings of a spy movie.
Interesting. I really like Cary Grant, and I have seen Breakfast at Tiffany's with the main actress in that, who I can't think of right at this moment. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't work for me when I watched it. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. She bought it. We have it. Well, it's not there anymore.
Now you're like a weatherman. You got to point at stuff that's not there.
But yeah, I'll give it another watch because she really likes it. It just didn't work for me for whatever reason when I watched it.
I thought it was quite good. But yeah, we talked in that video, Brightburn. He requested that and has seen that video, so I'm not sure why he's asking about that, because I'm sure we talked about Bond in that. But yeah, it's got a lot of trappings of, especially, Sean Connery era Bond stuff.
Which I haven't seen any of that stuff, so that would have went way over my head. Goofster123 with his $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you very much. What's up?
He says, I just got back from D23 yesterday.
Fun convention. You got to go.
Yeah,
give us secrets.
Yeah. Does MODOK have a helmet? Is he wearing it all the time? Fun convention. Bought lots of stuff. Lots of free stuff, too. Just wanted to say that I think Indy 5 could be a Last Jedi situation based on the footage we saw. Kind of concerning.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder what he means by that.
Just that it's subverting expectations in all the wrong ways, maybe? Or that, and I mean, I know some people like Last Jedi, but if he's saying he's concerned, that makes me think he probably doesn't care for that movie.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's just kind of going to be all over the place and real convoluted, or trying too hard to be something different?
Yeah, I mean, even if it's even worst case scenario, it can't be like a Last Jedi situation, because that's like the middle movie of a trilogy and an ongoing franchise where this is the end no matter what. So even if it's bad, it's not going to be like the end of the world. Right? This is the last one. Hopefully.
That's what he says. He says he's not going to fall for people anymore.
I don't trust them to not do like a Weekend at Bernie's Indy 6 where he's just going to share the whole movie or something.
It's possible eventually. I don't think you'll see any more Indiana Jones movies until after Harrison Ford is no longer with us. But years from now, I could see some sort of reboot. I don't even have a problem with that personally. I know some people don't want to ever see that. I feel like Indiana Jones is like a Bond situation where there's no reason you can't keep making them with new actors, and it doesn't have to. It can be a real loose kind of continuity. just like that. I always thought that's how that should have been handled. I hope that for the sake of this one movie, my mind is kind of changed, that seeing, you know, an 80-year-old Harrison Ford in that role one more time is going to be worth it, and, you know, great for that project. But, like, the only way you do that is to make it sort of like a Logan, I think. And again, you've got that director. Sorry, his name is just not coming to me right now, but I know what it is.
It's so frustrating that we haven't had, like, 10 or 15 Indiana Jones movies. Like, not only does the story...
Mangled. I just couldn't think of it.
Yeah. Not only does that whole type of storytelling not need to have one guy at the helm, like, you can put anyone in there, but the character is... I know everyone loves Harrison Ford. I'm probably crazy, but, like, he's just like a dry, generic action hero. Like, he doesn't... I think a lot of other people could play Indiana Jones. Am I crazy? Like, he's
no,
not.
You're
he doesn't.
not. I mean, 10 years ago, I wanted Pine, like a lot of people, and I don't think that's crazy. I think that would have been great casting, but
I don't know why we're locked to that one actor. It's so weird.
Yeah, and why you'd want the world to grow up with that character. You know what I mean? Like, to keep doing different time periods when it was supposed to be a serial that took place at the same time as serials. I don't know. And
we could have kept that genre alive longer, I think. I think that franchise could have kept that genre alive longer. That genre just... Like the things like The Shadow and The Phantom didn't work because nobody knew what a serial was, because we weren't doing them anymore.
You see a lot of Indiana Jones specifically throwback, but they're not going back to serials, they're going back to Indiana Jones, right? So you see treasure hunting movies, but you don't see, like, Star Wars and Indiana Jones should have helped keep, you're right, the spirit alive for those genres, and instead we just have things trying to be Star Wars and trying to be Indiana Jones. And we've kind of lost our sight and our love for the stuff that made those in the first place. Like, The Phantom was a really good attempt at trying to bring that back for superheroes, because I think people forget that superhero was one of the big genres of serials, and one of the earlier ones, and one of the things that really kept that alive for a long time. Captain Marvel was huge. I think a lot of people don't realize that like a lot of the reason there are Captain Marvel fans is because that was one of the big serial series, and of course Superman and Batman both. So The Phantom comes out in the 90s and attempts to do what Indiana Jones did. And there's some throwback to Indiana Jones in that also, but it's going back to the superhero ones and the adventure ones at the same time. And it tanked, and nobody understood it. Nobody appreciated it.
Yeah, it's all right, that's a whole nother conversation. Because I have a whole nother thing about, like, why we can't just do adventure novels anymore either. Like, John Carter didn't work, and, like, Tarzan, we can't make a Tarzan movie anymore. For some reason, it doesn't work. I don't understand. It's weird. Anyway, Bob the Hun, $2.
Some of it is marketing, but there's a lot more to it as well. We can't make a Knights of the Round Table movie that anybody will see. I mean, there are certain things in various genres that we've tried 1,000 times. We can't make a Robin Hood now that anybody will see.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't work anymore with modern filmmaking sensibilities or modern audience sensibilities. I don't know. It's weird. But also, I wouldn't say any of them are good. Like that new Tarzan movie with Skarsgård was... It's hard to say if there was a really good one. Yeah, well, I think John Carter's good, but I do think that was mostly marketing.
That was marketing. And I still haven't seen that, and I need to, because I had to read some of that material in high school and college, and I remember really liking it. I took a science fiction class that included some of that. How many super chats are there left? Would you tell me?
We've only got 2 quick ones. One of them is just to make me uncomfortable, because I have to read all of these, so I'm going to read it, but I don't know what.
And he's moving right along.
Bob the Hun, $2. Ezra Miller felt me up in a men's room. Have proof.
Well, that's unfortunate. I think you should go to the authorities. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, don't worry. They'll have his information at the ready. He's been there plenty.
Yeah. Ezra Miller's not on the run anymore, so they know where to find that guy. Moving right along.
T-Edge 1, $2. Make an MCU Star Trek crew. You're the best. Oh, cool. So kind of like we did with the Power Rangers.
We got to do this again. Okay.
You got to do this one, though, because I can't help you at all.
Oh, sure you can. I'll throw out some positions, and I'm not I'm not complaining that Tom's making us do this, except that we've done a few of these lately, and I always have to wrap my brain in the moment and be like, make it really good. It's I don't know, it puts you on the spot. Okay, so and I think we've done this for something before, where we had to come up with a Star Trek crew. DJ, give me a captain.
Captain America.
Yeah. What, just because he's got captain in the title?
No, just because he's the best character in the MCU.
All right, so Steve Rogers is our captain. Who should be his number one? I'm going to go for Black Panther just because I'm kind of excited about this video game, and I think that is a team up that makes a lot of sense. I could see couldn't you see Black Panther as the first officer?
Absolutely. I mean, I hate that they were at odds the entire Civil War, but we did get to see them briefly in Infinity War, so they would be awesome together.
That's a good point. So yeah, let's do that. And then we need a helmsman who's going to fly your ship. Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, or Star-Lord is a captain, or is a pilot.
That's true. He's a good pilot.
Or Captain Marvel's a pilot. Yeah.
That would give you a lot of firepower in your driver's seat.
Steve only piloted one plane, and he smashed it into an iceberg.
That's true.
So
that's why he's just telling people what to do and he's delegating now. We don't give him the controls anymore. I like the idea that Captain Marvel is flying the ship, and then every now and again she just leaves it to fly around and hit and blow up ships without firing on them. You don't even need a weapons officer because you have Captain Marvel.
She saves all the money on ammunition because she just is the ammunition.
I'm just reminded of, this is obscure for some of you guys. I'm just reminded of that trailer bait moment in the Birds of Prey pilot. I am the weapon. I am the ammunition. But yeah, okay. I
am the one who knocks.
Is it going to be Captain Marvel, or is it going to be Rocket Raccoon, or is it going to be Star-Lord? We got to pick one. You pick between those three. They're all good.
Star-Lord's kind of a wild card. I guess we'll go with, well, I mean, Rocket's a wild card too, but it'll at least be fun. Let's go with Rocket.
Okay, we'll go with Rocket. And then we need a chief of security on your ship.
Well, that's Happy, of course.
Oh, okay.
He spends a whole movie trying to enforce security. No one listens to him, but it'll be good.
I don't think that's a good choice, but it's an amusing choice. He's not going to intimidate anybody. You just put him in Worf's spot. That's hilarious.
Happy from Iron Man 3.
I love that. I
love that there's enough movies that we have so many options for this question.
I'm going to go for that because it's a terrible idea, but it's an entertaining idea. Like it would really work. Okay. And then what about your science officer?
Can I go with Edward Norton instead of Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah, sure. No, that's good.
Or whatever Reed Richards we get, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Let me think. What major roles? Just to be funny, I want to pick a transporter chief, somebody that stands in the transporter room and beams down away teams.
Oh, it's Heimdall. This is so easy.
This is actually really. I told you you'd be able to participate in this. This is pretty good. And then we need an engineer.
Okay. Well, I mean that would be Tony.
Right.
He's dead, so.
he's dead though. I mean, there's other people that would, I guess, be good at. I mean, I kind of like put Captain Marvel back at the helm and then put Rocket in the engineering room. That's probably good.
I think we should do Whiplash as the engineer, just to really shake things up.
Senior Nerd says medical is obviously Doctor Strange. Yeah, I like the idea of Stephen Strange in sickbay.
Yeah.
Can you think of anybody that would be better? We're a little short on ladies, but...
Well, Jane Foster, if they had kept her a medical person like the comics.
Sure, but now she's just also Thor. Well, she was for a minute, anyway. Senior Nerd says, sure. Oh, yeah, Shuri. Shuri would also work for your engineer.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Yep, that's good. Okay, well, this was fun. There are other smaller roles I could throw out, but we should move on.
Yeah. Good question, Tom.
That's your major crew members.
I'm going to go to some pre-writtens in the early chat. Mutale wants to know, Cap, have you seen the trailer for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
No, I have not.
I haven't either.
Isn't it weird that both of those are this year?
Yeah, it's super weird. It's like a Bug's Life ant situation, but I'm absolutely going to see Guillermo's, and I have no intention of seeing whatever the heck Zemeckis did on Disney Plus.
No, I don't have any intention of watching that either. Everything I've heard is exactly what I expected, which is it's a scene-for-scene remake that took all the teeth out, so it's just as safe as humanly possible. I don't watch a lot of Jeremy Jahns, but I watched his video on that. It was 6 minutes long, and I was curious enough to know what was in it, and I believe him. I'm sure that's what it is. But he did say that Jiminy Cricket was the best thing in it, and that his voice sounded perfect. And then he looked up who he was, and it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who apparently just does a really good Jiminy Cricket impression. And I think that's really interesting.
That's so fascinating. No, I actually read the original book with my son, and it's obviously way more expansive than the Disney version, and there's so much interesting, creepy stuff in there that you could do, and I'm so excited to see Del Toro tackle it because I love pretty much all of his movies.
Yeah, I've never cared about that story. So if people say it's good, I'll check it out. But it's sort of like a Cinderella situation where I'm just like, I don't need to see Cinderella again. Like, I don't need to see Pinocchio again. Okay, it's a totally different situation because Cinderella is just, I've seen that story done in like 900 different ways. Pinocchio is freaky creepy.
Yeah, that's a creepy book.
And it was a creepy movie.
Yeah.
Disney's movie is pretty unnerving, and intentionally so, and in good ways certainly. But I don't want to watch that. I don't want to sit through that again.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested in Del Toro's, because it's going to take it in a complete, and that's what he does best.
It'll be an actual cautionary tale.
Yes, because that's what he does. He makes these dark, twisted fantasy movies that all are about children, like Pan's Labyrinth and what's the other one? Kronos and Devil's Backbone. Like that's his best stuff. So yes, give me a Pinocchio movie. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's morality tale. It's parable. Like everything works out at the end because there's a redemptive arc, but I mean it's parable. Don't lie to people. Listen to your parents, or bad things will happen to you.
Maybe don't watch those 3 movies I said then, because none of those end well.
Well, I'm just saying the original Pinocchio, that's what it was. I mean, the Disney movie, and the new one is ostensibly that. I've never read the book, so I can't speak to that. I don't know if that's like a I don't know if that's a situation like Hunchback of Notre Dame, where everything works out in the Disney movie, and in the book everyone dies at the end.
No, it's much more. Yeah, it's much darker. It's just he continually keeps making the wrong decisions and continually just makes everyone's life miserable in the book.
Does he get to be a real boy at the end?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. So I mean, it's still a happy ending, even if it's really dark.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a scene in that movie. Again, I've not seen it. This was from the Jeremy Jahns 6-minute video. But apparently, he complained about bad morals in that movie, that the movie maybe didn't even think about the fact that that's what it was perpetuating, where it's just kind of thoughtless. He said there's a scene where Pinocchio is locked in a cell, and he's got to get the keys, and he tells a lie on purpose to make his nose longer so he can grab the keys. And he's like, well, what are we saying to children with that?
Wait, sorry, I was reading comments. Were you talking about what were you talking about?
The new Pinocchio, the live action Disney Pinocchio.
Oh,
there's a scene where the nose where he intentionally lies to make his nose longer so he can get keys to get out of a cell.
That's like Shrek 2 stuff. That's so weird.
Yeah, right?
Don't lie, kids, unless it's absolutely necessary for your own gain.
Well, and that's just not what that story's about. Like, you can tell kids, you can give kids that message if that's the message of a whole piece, right? Where it's like, sometimes there are situations where things trump, there's morality that trumps other morality, right? Like in a life or death situation, if you had to tell a white lie in order to save your brother from drowning somehow or whatever it was. I can't think of a good example. Or from getting, you had to tell a lie so that a bad guy doesn't shoot your brother, right? That's not what that movie was about. And it's, it wasn't a Shades of Grey kind of thing.
Yeah.
This isn't 24, it's Pinocchio.
Well, Mutali mentioned the same thing I just said. He says, wasn't a similar thing done in Shrek 2 where he lies to get out of a cell? They just stole it from Shrek 2? Was he also wearing women's underwear like he was in Shrek 2?
I don't remember that movie. So no, I never saw that because I don't like the first one. I never bothered with it.
I'm one of the few that prefers the first one to the sequel. I don't like Shrek 2.
Wow,
most
interesting.
People like it more than the first.
Hey, before we move on, can I make a couple of announcements real quick? Just wanted to make sure that you guys know about some things that are happening here on the channel that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. First of all, later on in the week on Friday, Austin and I are going to review the new Sylvester Stallone superhero movie that dropped on Amazon Prime a couple of weeks ago called Samaritan, which is getting nothing but bad reviews, and I'm sure it's going to be terrible, but it's a superhero movie, and it's Stallone, and I'm too curious not to watch it, so we probably shouldn't waste our time on it, but we're going to do that anyway. So in case you want to know what's in it before... That. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it. I saw the trailer for it, and the kid in that, the main actor in that, he was in the third season of Umbrella Academy, like throughout the whole thing. He was a big deal. He was someone's kid in that.
His costume looks terrible. But we're going to watch it. It might be fun to talk about, regardless of whether it's horrible. And then I just started preparing for this, and this is a thing that I know some of you guys have been waiting to hear me announce for a long time, so I wanted to go ahead and let you know about it. The last Friday of the month, so I guess 2 weeks, we're going to be reviewing... Finally, it's been a year, DJ. We're finally getting back to the Simpsons overviews. So get on season 4 and start binging that on Disney Plus or on your disc or however you have it. If you want to refresh yourself on that and you want to join us for what I'm sure will be another 2.5, 3 hour discussion on a whole season of Simpsons. I just started taking some notes last night, and we're going to try to get back to that semi-regularly again. So I'm shooting for once every month or two on those, getting back to it. So Simpsons Season 4, last Friday this month. Tell your friends. Okay, DJ, what else do people want to chat about this evening?
You guys are just so excited about that new Simpsons short on Disney Plus. You had to get back in the Simpsons mood to watch it.
I watched it.
Oh, you did?
I don't know why I bothered with it. I was like, it's 4 minutes.
I can give 4 minutes of my time. Why not?
Yeah. Can I talk about it for a second?
That's what people say when they tune into the show. It's 2 hours.
Well, like I said at the beginning, it is 2 hours of your life you will not get back. So I watched that short, and I do not understand the like Marvel and Disney parody stuff they're making. I'm very confused about it. You know what it feels like? It feels like they're like locking writers in a room and saying, this is forcing them to make something they don't want to make, and going, this is the assignment. You can do it any way you want to. You can be as sarcastic and mean-spirited about the project itself as you want to, but this is happening and you're going to do it. So what they do is they go, we really shouldn't be making these corporate cynical mashup things where you just take every villain in a Disney movie you've ever seen and shove them into a Simpsons thing and write kind of a crappy song, and that's your whole thing. And we don't like that we're being forced to do this. So we're going to spend the entire time writing about how wrong it is. Because that's
actually pretty cool.
Because that's what it is. It's like Disney has no soul, and here's all the mistakes they're making now, mistakes they've made before, and like half that song is about how nobody cares about the like princes in Disney princess movies and how expendable they are and how airheaded they are and like they're not interesting, and it's really just raking Disney over the coals in every way possible for 4 minutes, and I'm like, why does this exist? You know,
Wow,
I don't
so
understand.
that's
Like, if it has to, and that's the spirit of The Simpsons, I guess that's what it should be. Although I don't like the idea of Lisa wanting to be a Disney princess, but then nothing comes of that. It's just, I want to be a Disney princess. And then she goes through these doors, and then it's just villains singing about how it's more fun to be a villain. And then they talk about everything that sucks in Disney movies and the corporate stuff with Disney, and I'm like, it's really weird this is a thing.
So that tells me that they just don't care what you do. They just need content for Disney Plus. Yeah. It's like, do whatever. We're not even going to approve it.
I don't know that they watch them. I don't know that they know what's on their service.
Wow.
So, I mean, I like that better than what it might be, I guess. And I don't know if they're all like that, but that one, it was really mean-spirited.
Wow.
And cynical about how cynical Disney is. Isn't that weird? Jedi Knight says it's corporate synergy. I mean, I guess there's maybe some truth to that, where it's like, if we're self-aware and we tell the viewers what they want to hear and like line up with what they've been complaining about with them, then with us, then we gain points. Like, if we say we know we're evil, but we're gonna keep being evil, it's better than if we're just evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the idea. The way it watches, though, is people handcuffed in a room being forced to make a thing they don't want to make and going, well, this is what you're getting.
It's the same way they do humor these days, where it's like, you can't just play something ridiculous. You have to announce that you know it's ridiculous, and then that makes it okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's very strange.
You can't just take over the world. You have to make Simpsons cartoons about how you're taking over the world, and then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really counterintuitive, and it seems like this very strange, I don't know how to describe it, just like mixed bag of things. I don't know. All right, what else do folks want to talk about?
Well, Daniverse wants to talk about,
hi,
what is an example of a movie completely misleading you with its marketing? For me, it's Kangaroo Jack, the Uber example. Wow, how is Kangaroo Jack marketed?
I've never seen that.
I saw that in theaters, and it is so weird. Not a kids movie. Was it maybe marketed as a kids movie? I guess did they use that one, like? He has like he's like dying of thirst in the desert one time, and he has like this vision of a talking kangaroo. Did they use that in the trailer so that like you thought it was actually about a talking kangaroo? Because that's hilarious. Because it's not. There's no kangaroo.
The first example that comes to mind is Pixels. And we talked about this the other day, and so it's kind of fresh in my mind, so maybe this is an easy example. But I think it's a good one because I let myself get, even though it's Adam Sandler and I should have known what I was getting myself into, they marketed that really hard like a almost PG level family film. Like, take your kids to this, it's about video games. And, like, it's about old school video games, but it's fun for the whole family. And then I went, and there's a lot of humor that's wildly inappropriate for children. And that movie was indefensibly marketed to families. And it really bothered me. Like, I almost took my kids to it when I went and saw it, because I kind of trusted it. Because, like, Adam Sandler's made family stuff before. Wasn't he Click? Mm-hmm. Or was that...
Yeah, he did Click, and Bedtime Stories.
Yeah, and like I know that most everything he makes now are these kind of really cheap, thrown together. Like Red Letter Media talks about it a lot. These really cheap movies that seem to be just excuses for him and his friends to go on vacations, and then they just make these really bad movies while they're like on a remote island somewhere or Hawaii or wherever they're going, and Pixels kind of also feels like that. In a weird way, except it was a mass-marketed thing that was kind of treated like one of the big summer things for kids, and huge, horribly inappropriate, really mean-spirited, not remotely clever, and just kind of took that initial premise and beat you over the head with it for 85 minutes or whatever it was, and it's bad. But it's not just bad; it's not okay for kids. And that really bothered me. So yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
So I was apparently right about what happened with Kangaroo Jack. Apparently it was originally supposed to be R-rated because it's like a movie where they end up with money and get mixed up with like the mob and stuff. Like it's just like an adult movie, but they just apparently hacked it up and edited it into and tried to sell it as a kids movie. That's weird. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Danaverse says Click is PG-13. Okay, but does it have as much raunchy stuff as Pixels does? I would be surprised if it did.
Yeah,
I've never seen that, so I don't know. But I've never heard people complain, I let my kids watch that and I shouldn't have.
I've never seen Click either. Is it like a Big Daddy situation?
Maybe so. Maybe it is. That was another movie that was marketed really hard to families, so I don't know.
I have one. I guess the definitive one for me is, but I didn't see the marketing for this. But Bridge to Terabithia is a kids movie that is based on a book, and they marketed it like it was just another Portal Fantasy, like Narnia kids movie where they go into their imagination and they go on adventures and stuff. And it's not. I don't want to spoil that for what it is for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it is like a really
When was that made? I've never heard of that.
2006.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about something a lot older than that.
It is a really heavy movie that kids have got to be ready for because it tackles death and mortality and
well, that's how Vince always described where the Wild Things are. Like he didn't like that was marketed as a kids movie, but I've never seen that, so I don't have a dog in that. And he's in the minority on that, I think. Like a lot of people talk about that as a great thing to show to kids. We have this book, and I haven't seen every movie in the book, of course, but we have a book that's like, the 100 movies that you should see before you like a kid should see before they grow up, and that's in there, which kind of surprised me after the way Vince described that. But I've never seen that movie, so
I definitely agree with Vince. Is
that Spike Lee?
Even the director agrees with Vince because he said he wanted to make a movie about kids and about childhood, but not for kids.
That seems like a mistake based on that material, though. Because that's a beloved kids book. So, like, should you do that to a beloved... Even if the movie is good, should you do that? Because, the studio is going to tell kids to go see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because, like, you have to...
There's an inherent irresponsibility in that, in my mind.
Yeah, but I would like the responsibility to be on the parents. But it's tough because you have to completely reinvent picture books because they're, like... 3 minutes long, so like you have to have a take. You can't just otherwise you just get the crappy Dr. Seuss movies that
I get that, but I'm going to fight you on this a little bit because if I found out that if I was 8 years old and I found out that my favorite kids book was translated to screen, but I couldn't go see it because what they made was this really heavy subject matter piece for my parents, that would be kind of sad and unfortunate. And when you say the onus should be on the parents, I absolutely agree with you, except do you then expect every parent to go see a movie before they let their kids see it, no matter what it is?
No, but if you look at that movie,
there you go.
It's shot in the most dark, dreary, depressing. Like you can look at any frame of that movie and realize it's not for like 4-year-olds. I don't know if you've looked at any of it.
Okay, but what about 8 or 9-year-olds? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I absolutely think 8 and 9-year-olds can see that.
Okay, there you go. Well, I'm talking about a movie I don't know anything about. I'm just like
unlike Bridge to Terabithia, all of that is metaphorical. It's like a fantasy, and all of the deep like meditation on depression and parenting and stuff is in the background. Bridge to Terabithia is about a child that dies, and the character dies.
Yeah, that's different.
It's different.
But I mean, there's lots of really good family films that have dark imagery, of course.
Yeah, and I think Vince would probably agree that 9-year-olds could probably see that movie, but it's not like a preschool movie.
No, I mean another one. We've probably talked about this before. Okay, we're more aligned than it sounded like we were. But I had to argue with you for a second because
I love this kind of stuff.
But I don't know, like imagine you do that to like I'm trying to think of an absurd example where you make Lyle Crocodile.
Well, we'll see if anyone dies in that film.
What if that movie turned out to be this really dark, understated like meditation on mental health, and you're like, it was Amelia Bedelia. You make an Amelia Bedelia movie where she is she's so literal about everything it gets someone killed at the beginning.
It's amazing.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it can go either way. If this guy had this really cool idea for a story and this was the perfect catalyst for it, then I support that. But yeah, I wouldn't do it with everything.
Her employer is like Amelia Bedelia, because it was always nonsensical in those books, right? Amelia Bedelia, I want you to go shoot a movie. So like she gets out a gun and she just goes to their DVDs. And there's like a kid that gets in the way and then she shoots him in the head. And that's how the movie opens.
Yeah, if you like Drax, you should check out Amelia Bedelia, because that's basically what those books are. Well, Drax in the first movie, in the first Guardians. Drax in the second one is just a Muppet.
What's in that bit in the second movie? I'm actually working on a rewind for that right now. There's parts that are really funny, but I'm just questioning like whether I buy that he's that dumb. It's like the first movie, he's very literal. The second movie, sometimes he's just dumb.
Just dumb. It's like he got brain damage when Thanos punched him in the head that one time.
What's the bit where Mantis gets a rock, gets hit with a rock, and he 3 seconds later goes, "Mantis, watch out!" Like, it's funny, but I don't get it.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, and absurd humor works for you a lot better than me. That's a lot of that humor in that second movie didn't work for me, but a lot of it was Drax. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just I like a lot of absurd humor, but it's got to work in the context of the, of the characters. Like is that in the internal logic of the piece? I don't know. Anyway, what else do folks want to talk about? We're at about an hour and a half. I'm going to go ahead and say, because it's been a little while, last call for Super Chats right now. And I've got to be finished with the stream tonight by at least within the next half an hour. So we'll do some more pre-written, and if anybody wants to put any more Super Chats, feel free to do that right now. And we'll tackle a couple of pre-written, and then we'll go ahead and call it an evening if we don't see any other questions. Go ahead, DJ. If you see anything worth talking about.
Yeah, got a couple more. One from Daniverse.
DJ and I could always write it out, though. We can make up something.
Yeah, we can talk about Where the Wild Things Are. Great soundtrack on that film. Also, here's what
should I see it? Should I sit in and watch that movie?
I don't know if you would love it, but
okay.
I think, yeah, I haven't actually seen it in a long time. I was younger when I saw it, but I will say this: it is appropriate for kids, but it's not for kids in that they won't understand what's going on. Like they won't pick up on all the stuff that's happening. But
I was going to say,
like violent. It's not like inappropriate content wise for kids.
I was going to say something about that earlier. Another example is Anastasia. We've talked about that before, where that gave that animated movie from the late 90s.
I just watched that for the first time.
Friggin' nightmares, because of Rasputin.
Yeah, what a crazy villain! I think that is Don Bluth's best animated film. I've been walking through a lot of his catalog because I didn't grow up with those, like A Secret of NIMH.
Anastasia, you like Anastasia more than just as an artistic piece than American Tail?
No, I think it's between those two, right? I mean,
okay, yeah. I'm just saying I don't know that he ever made a better movie than American Tail.
That's true. Well, I don't know if it's true. I definitely think it's between those two. I watched all of those pretty recently.
Wow.
I watched American Tail and Secret of NIMH like right after each other.
Well, some of that I've never seen. Secret of NIMH I've never sat through.
Yeah, those are the three best. His other stuff, like Thumbelina, I did not like much at all. And what's the other one that he did? I haven't seen Titan AE yet, but I don't think that's gonna like sweep.
He didn't make Fern Gully, did he?
He did not. He didn't make all that many films, actually. I almost watched all of them except for Titan AE. And he made some, like, what's that Night movie that was like a video game cutscene thing? It's weird.
Oh, was that him? Yeah, I don't know what that's called either.
But, yeah, Don Bluth's cool. Oh, the other one that I didn't love but was okay was All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah, so
he did
when I was a kid, I grew up on that movie. And that's one of those things that I saw a little bit later in life and was like, oh, this is kind of dreadful, actually. Like, I don't really care for that movie.
The music
weird.
In that is awful.
It's bad.
I don't know what's going on with the singing in that movie, but
it's almost as bad as, maybe it is as bad as the music in Brave Little Toaster, which we still need to do a commentary on. Have you never seen that movie?
I have never seen it. I think I
Please
rented
don't
one
watch
of
it because I
the
want
sequels.
I want to make you blind watch that at some point. For
Dragon's Lair, that's what it is. Blue Dragon 5, you're right. Dragon's
Oh,
Lair.
I didn't realize that.
But I had one. I think I rented one of the sequels to Brave Little Toaster when I was like a really small kid from like a movie store, but I don't remember anything about it. So yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, I think I would go with Anastasia, but that's more my sensibilities than American Tail is. But American Tail's great too. Those are the two tops for me. Well, and I need to rewatch them. I've only seen them each once.
And don't get me wrong, like neither of those is even exactly my kind of thing. But like I grew up on American Tail, and it creeped me out in all the right ways as a kid. Like it's a really challenging movie for kids.
Both of those are like I mean, you've got Russian politics and stuff, and then you've got the Jewish stuff in American Tail. Like it's crazy. And he's like, I can't do this at Disney, so I'm gonna go just make my own. And
there's a grit to that that's just missing later. That even Anastasia doesn't quite live up to again. Mm-hmm. I don't think. And you've got the same thing with like Land Before Time. There's just a grit to that movie.
Daniverse says All Dogs Go to Heaven is dark as which is true. I mean, I felt a little weird showing that to my kid because the character is like murdered by the mafia like 10 minutes in. I'm like, well, this is a little weird, but
it's weird.
And he says Worthless is a bop. I don't remember any of the names of the songs. I just remember the singing being really weird. Daniverse has another one. Ever had any sleepless nights? I've struggled sometimes, and often it's because it feels like my pillow doesn't seem to fit. Are you about to sell us one of those Q pillows, Daniverse? Are you about to...
That really sounded like a pitch of some kind.
Yeah, it really did.
Do you have, I mean, we're getting kind of personal here, but DJ, have you ever had any problems with insomnia?
I am the exact opposite. My wife hates me because she does struggle with insomnia a lot. I fall asleep about 15 seconds after my head hits the pillow every night.
The only time I have issues going to sleep, because I'm absolutely a night person, and I will sometimes get my days and nights flipped because I'll spend too many nights staying up late, and then it takes me a long time to get flipped back. So I'll get to where I cannot go to sleep before 3 or 4 in the morning. But that's not insomnia so much as just like messing my clock up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like I've never had real honest to God insomnia. I also sometimes just have, enough going on in my brain where I can't just lay down and go to sleep. It takes longer than normal. I don't know. I like to be dead tired before I finally go to sleep, which is not the most healthy way to live. But so I don't have real insomnia. I have kind of like self-induced insomnia. That's exactly the right way to put it. Thank you.
The only thing I have that's even like similar at all is sometimes I'll get up at like 5:30 or like 5 or 6 in the morning, and once I get up, I can't go back to sleep. But like at night, I'm always fine. But like if I get up at 6, I'm just like, well, I'm up now. I might as well get something done.
The hardest I ever had it was back in college when I worked nights, because I could not go to sleep very readily if the sun was out, no matter how much I blotted out, windows and stuff. So DJ, I'd get back home at like 7 in the morning from an overnight shift, waiting tables, and then I just couldn't go to sleep. And that was maddening, especially when I was in college trying to get papers in and doing homework and all of that. I don't miss that.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than just laying in bed and not physically being able to fall asleep. I feel really bad for people with insomnia. That's like one of the worst, because you don't want to just take drugs and then just keep upping the dose of
and
whatever
becoming
Benadryl.
Dependent on it.
Yeah, it's really not a good situation. Robert Wild says, are you Mirrorverse DJ, also known as JD, and are your Blu-rays in front of your camera instead of behind it?
They're in boxes now, right?
Yep, they're all in boxes right there. Right over to the side. Speaking of JD, that is what they put on my work computer. They logged me in as JD Martinez for... I just kept my work computer like that until I got a new one, because they did not get my name right.
Oh, that's funny. I have a question for you. Would you reveal your middle name?
Ooh. Should we make them guess it?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Because some people just don't like their middle names and don't want anybody to know what they are. I don't know if you're like that.
No, I'm not. It's I mean, it's a family name. I'm the third, so
Okay. Let's
I'm
see if
not
anybody is it like a real easy kind of normal American middle name?
yeah.
Or
Yeah. It's
okay.
Jehoshaphat. No, it's a normal name.
Okay, so it's
They'll
gonna
be able to
be
guess it.
like a and don't tell me if I'm right about it. It's gonna be like a Robert or an Allen or something like that. Let's see
Yeah,
if
it's a
anybody can
standard
guess it.
name. It does start with J though, so guess those. This is interesting.
Good
This came
call.
up.
Okay, sorry. In my head, it was like DJ something Martinez, but yes, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna guess Jerome. That's my guess. He's the Joker from Gotham. He's the first Joker from Gotham.
Oh no.
Jedi Knight Jones
yeah.
would be a last name. No, everybody, it's got to be a J. It's got to be a J name.
Doug Jones.
Throw out J names. We got
wonderful actor
Jones, Jason.
in Del Toro movies. Jason, that would be fun.
Everybody
if it
gets
was
one
Jason, I would've
guess,
told
okay?
you.
Don't throw a million things out, but Mutale, you get the two guesses because you said Mark first. Adam Mark says John. Robert says he takes offense to that, Cap. Offense to what? The idea that his middle name could have been Robert? Just because your name is Robert? Or that you have a normal American name? Like, why would you argue with that? What's wrong with having a normal American name?
Okay, so somebody has got it, but they cheated and they said more than one guess. So I don't know if you want to give
is it
to him.
Mutale? Did he say too many things?
Mutale, you broke the rules.
God, Mutale. It's John, isn't it? It's Joseph?
It's not John. It's not Jeremy. It's not Jordan. It's not JoJo, Jedi Knight. It's not James. It's not Jane. It is Joseph.
It's Joseph. Okay. Well, mystery solved. I wish they were all that easy.
This is cool that this came up because we didn't talk about this side of the D23 at all. Jedi Knight says, thoughts on the Avengers multiverse ride?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I didn't look. They did make a lot of Disney parks announcements too. I wish I'm not in that. I'm not in that conversation at all, so I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly
I'm not
what.
either. I never pay attention to rides and stuff because I just don't go to theme parks very often.
I did see they're getting rid of some things at Animal Kingdom to add Moana and Encanto.
Oh.
Just not super exciting to me because Encanto was good, but I didn't like Moana at all.
But that was popular. A lot of people
That
like
could
that
be
movie.
that could be a cool world, I guess. I guess you don't have to love the movie to make a cool theme park.
No, but I get turned off to parks that don't have enough of just things I'm really into. Like, for me as an adult, I have to have... This is just me, and I'm not saying everything should be like this. And I also don't mean to sound like a hypocrite because I think a lot of entertainment is too nostalgia-driven now. But as far as theme parks go, I think there's nothing wrong with it being pretty nostalgia-driven. And I'm just the age I am and like the things I like. So when I went to Disney, I was excited about the stuff that was still there from when I was a kid and some of the more recent Pixar stuff that I really like. But occasionally you'd go to an area that's like, I'm not into this, I don't really care. I only went to one side of Universal when I went recently, and I'm glad that I went to the side I did because all of the areas were things that I liked and that I was interested in. And going on the other side, there would have been a lot of stuff that I'd be like, who cares? So, you know, when things like that get announced, I'm like, I guess that's cool for kids.
But so yeah. It's like it's so subjective, right? Like
it's entirely.
I say
subjective.
that,
yeah.
But then like
that's why it's nice that that's why it's nice that if you go to Orlando, you've got a lot of choices of places you can go.
Yeah, like
you know,
when
there will be still something for everybody, but I'm just really glad that I was able to go to a place that had simultaneously Jurassic Park and Marvel.
Yeah, and the Dr. Seuss world is cool.
And that was cool.
That
yeah.
Harry Potter thing.
Yeah,
I will say
all stuff I like. Yeah.
Speaking of Harry Potter, the Diagon Alley section of the other park, Universal, is awesome. Like,
yeah,
that's one thing. I don't care about Harry Potter at all. My wife's a huge fan, and
yeah.
I had a blast going to Diagon Alley and riding that dragon bank ride with her. That was so cool.
Oh, cool. I do wish I'd gotten to see that part of it, but I'll go back at some point. I think it's, speaking of this is neither here nor there, but I was at Universal recently, and I was gonna, I guess this is, 2 months ago now, and I was going to do a video talking about my experiences there, and I just never got around to it. It's been long enough that I don't know that I would want to do it now, because I don't know how much I would remember. I'm going to try to bring up what you just sent me, but I don't know.
I just sent it because there's a Thanos thing in it that someone specifically mentioned in the chat.
Next time you want to send me an article like that, would you just send it to Facebook?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know it was going to pop over.
It's a lot of, yeah, because it always pops up right on the screen. It's hard to click on, and everybody sees it, and you're just making us look really unprofessional right now. Is really what I'm saying.
So sorry.
No, it's okay.
Skype's the worst. I blame Skype. But yeah, they said that the multiverse ride has King Thanos as the villain.
King Thanos.
Yeah, and there's a picture of him in that article. That's why I sent it to you.
Sorry, I'm trying to. You've really messed me up here. Okay, we're good.
I didn't know if you had Facebook open. I didn't want it to make a ding
No,
sound,
you're fine.
So.
I'm messing with you. So I was real quick before I get to the article that you just sent me that I was not prepared at all to talk about. When I was gonna say something about Universal. It's not coming to me now. There was a point I wanted to make about going there. And I can't remember what it was. Okay, well, I'll look at this real quick. Sorry, I forget now.
Yeah, I really want to go to Universal with you someday.
Oh yeah, he looks weird.
So expensive. It's crazy expensive.
Look, it's King Thanos.
There he is, and then in the one above it, he looks like Aquaman.
Oh, because it's a multiversal, right? So they do like different versions of characters from different universes, I guess. That's fun.
I guess so, because both Spider-Man are right next to each other in that image.
Yeah. No, that's fun.
I love screen rides. I'm not a huge roller coaster person, so screen rides are my favorite. So
yes, I'm at that place as well. I did worry about it because I went on a Star Wars screen ride. It was the first one I'd ever done when I was at Disney 6 years ago now, and I got really nauseous. And it was like a 3D thing, and my eyes, and I can't see 3D, and
true.
It messed with my head real bad. But then the couple I've been on since then, I didn't have that problem even when they were 3D, because I was able to do the King Kong ride at Universal fine.
So cool. Such a cool line for that one, too. I love that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. That was worth standing in line for 40 minutes.
Yeah, they have literally people in costume grabbing you out of the rooms. Did they do that when you were there?
No.
I don't know if they do that anymore because of COVID. Dang.
They did not do that, but the setting was neat. It was the coolest area, literally, physically. Just the kind of, like, it was really, really hot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you go in there and it's like 45 degrees and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's probably not actually that cold, but
yeah, the South is insane. When Connor came here, he was like, oh yeah, of course it's gonna be hot. It's the South, but he was not ready for the humidity. Like people who have never been to the South, you can say it's like 90 degrees, but you don't know 90 degrees in the South until you go, because the humidity makes it feel like it's 190.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from the South, and not as far south as we're talking about, but like even where I lived in Arkansas, August is bad. I mean, it's humid. We don't get that here, and I'm not used to it anymore.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Connor was like, he's like, this has never happened to me before. He's like just like dripping sweat. His body was doing things he didn't even know that it could do. All right, we got some super chats from Nicholas Robinson.
Oh, thanks, man.
He says, favorite Superman TAS episode.
Oh man, it's been too long. That's tough. And I was actually like a year ago trying to watch back through that so I could do a top 10 for Rewind, and I got too ambitious. I was doing that while I was taking care of the girls when they were first born, and I wasn't able to take notes, and I just wasn't watching it close enough, so I ended up not making that video. But maybe I'll put that on a short list and try to do that in the next few months and watch back through that show again. But right off the top of my head, I mean, it's probably... this is not fair, but it's probably still the world's finest episodes. Because I've always loved that as a movie, and I've done the rewind and commentary on that, and people know my thoughts about that. But it's wonderful. But beyond that is like singular episodes. I'd have to go back and look at a list. It's been too long. I always like the Mixoplex stuff. It's really funny. The Dark Side episode with, spoiler alert, where they actually kill a character was shocking and kind of crazy they went that far, and that always kind of had me reeling. And I think it's got one of the best pilots of any cartoon show ever. That's definitely... I'll be shocked if that's not in my top 10 when I finally make that that 3-part pilot that is that kind of mirrors the structure of the first Donner movie, in that your first episode is Krypton, and then your second episode is Smallville, and your third episode is Superman, and it's wonderful. But yeah, I had to give it more thought. I don't know what my true favorite episode of that show is, but those are some that I like a lot.
And we have another super chat from Nicholas. $2.
Oh, Late Mr. Kent is a great episode, Daniverse. That's probably in there. Yeah, good call. Bye, Senior Sticks. Thanks for being here. Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're down to the wire here. What are the 5 best TV shows you've seen?
Okay, topping the list is Breaking Bad. That's probably my favorite singular standalone TV show of all time at this point. And
Yeah, you
then
gotta have that.
I have to put in a Star Trek show, so that ends up being Next Generation. Deep Space Nine, story-wise, is technically a better show, but near and dear to my heart with the best singular episodes is Next Generation. After that, I need to rack my brain a little bit.
That's a tough one. Just best TV shows you've ever seen.
And why is it always 5?
Well, it'd be weird if you just said 2 best. Just the 2 best.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it could be 3, but it's always 5. We're doing a lot of top 5s lately.
I'm just glad I didn't say 10.
That's where I draw the line. I mean, we have done some 10s lately when it's easier than this topic.
It costs the same amount of money to say 10 as it does 5. Probably cheaper.
Oh, really good. Yeah, I mean, they could say 30, but I wouldn't do it. Nicholas Robinson, thanks for trying to help me out with that. Yeah, Babylon 5 I will throw in there because I think that's probably almost objectively
really cool.
the greatest science fiction series of all time. Yeah. And I've not even finished it, but just with the first 4 seasons, I think I have to say that. So yes, I'll put Babylon 5 in there. Boy. Well, it's not Smallville. And it's not Lost ultimately, even though I adore those first couple
breaks
seasons.
your heart. Breaks your heart.
Doesn't it?
Lost.
Doesn't it though that you can't say it? I mean, same thing with Heroes. I think Heroes has one of the best first seasons of anything, but I can't ultimately put it there.
Well, this is my thing. I've said this several times recently on this show. Like, TV's so hard for me because it's like that superhero video you just made last night. Like, there's no consistency. There's often not consistency. Like, how many bad seasons does it have to get before it knocks it down?
Before you just can't even say, yeah. Because of its I mean, like, I feel like it would almost be fair to say Lost just based on the first season, but then I'm like, it ends so poorly and everything so much doesn't come together. I don't feel like I can say it. Like, there's other things. I like Dexter. If I was a bigger Dexter fan, for instance, I would feel vindicated putting that on the list, even with the not good seasons, just because the first few seasons are so good. You can't ruin it because like Lost, because it's not like you're waiting to see where all roads go, and if it doesn't nail the finale, it doesn't work. And so that's a good segue to say, even though there are missteps, I do have to put Daredevil in that on that list, Netflix Daredevil. Because I still think that's probably the best screen superhero live action thing we've ever had. And then, was it just TV in general? Because if I can use an animated series, I'm putting Batman there.
Animated. Just 5 best TV shows you've seen.
Oh, there's a part of me that wants to be a crazy person and put 60s Batman on that list. But yeah, did I say 4? Or did I get, if I put Batman in there, do I have 5?
I think so. I think you're pretty much there. I will say Fargo is one of the best shows I've ever seen, but I've heard that the 4th season is not great, and I'm kind of hesitant to watch the 4th season because I don't want it to sully, because season 3 was amazing, and I had the same thing with Sherlock. I freaking loved that
Nicholas
show.
Robinson says live action. Okay, I've got to say Amazon Tick then, even though it doesn't finish, and the 2nd season is not anything like as good as the first. That first season is kind of a perfect season of television.
And that's how I feel about Mr. Robot, but I fell off that too.
I never finished that either.
I never finished.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Robot
I never
either.
saw that. I need to watch that. I was thinking of something else when you said that. I need to go back and finish. What is that show? Person of Interest. I started at one point, and I liked that quite a bit, but never finished that.
Robert Wild says Avatar: The Last Airbender. People saying Daredevil. Yeah. Dagan Spear wants to know what are your thoughts on Dexter New Blood.
I saw the first episode and was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it, and how back to basics it managed to get, but I have not finished it because that's Showtime and I wasn't paying for Showtime at the time. News came out today, by the way, DJ, that Paramount is seriously considering shutting down Showtime altogether and blending it with Paramount Plus, like I said I wanted. And once I heard that news, I thought, ooh, do I want that though? Because then I started thinking, Oh, but if they I wanted it as a streaming service, but if they wholesale shut down, I think that's what they were talking about. I didn't read past a headline though. I just happened to see that, and I didn't put it in my notes tonight because we were just doing D23. But I was thinking, oh boy, that might be getting, be careful what you wish for, that kind of situation. Because if they full on shut down Showtime, will Paramount Plus get the kinds of rich shows that are not micromanaged like Showtime got? I'm not sure, because their original offerings have not been the best overall.
Yeah, we really buried the lead here with this D23 stuff. The real news is I got Paramount Plus.
Did you really?
Yeah,
how broken is it?
I haven't even used it yet. I just got it because T-Mobile gave me a free year, because that's my mobile provider, and so I have a free year of it. I don't know what I'm going to watch.
If we can get away with it, well, that's great. Congratulations. That's the only way anybody should use that service, unless you have things on there that you just can't get anywhere else, which is...
Yeah, I figured it was worth it for free.
The boat I'm in. Paying for Paramount Plus makes me feel like a Simpsons writer forced to make a 4-minute short about Disney villains. Just locked in a room. But I was going to say, DJ, if we didn't have to worry about getting copyright flagged, I would say it would be a really fun video to just screen share your Disney Plus and have you try various things and see how long it takes before everything stops working.
Oh, yeah, Paramount Plus. Yeah, I don't know.
What did I say? Paramount Plus.
Yeah, you said Disney Plus, but I know.
Do I keep doing that? Do I keep saying Disney? In my defense, it's all freaking Plus now, and it's irritating. Yeah,
I'll probably just end up watching some. That's actually the first thing I did, was I turned on some 2003 TMNT.
It's neat that that's there, right?
Cool. Be neater if it was on physical.
One of the shows that was announced this weekend that we didn't talk about because I don't care, I've never seen this movie, is apparently like in-between-quel or whatever for the movie Zootopia. Guess what it's called? Have you heard about this?
I have. Is it a TV show?
Yeah, it's a TV show. Have you heard about this?
I don't know anything else, though.
It's called Zootopia Plus. We're using Plus in names of shows now.
What?
How can it be Plus?
Especially if it's in between.
You'd have to cross over into another universe at the point you were Plus. I'm thinking of things like this, okay? You probably won't know what I'm talking about. If you go back to the 90s, the really bizarre last season of Pinky and the Brain, that was Pinky and the Brain and Elvira from Tiny Toons, that was what that was called. They had a season where they had Elvira with Pinky and the Brain. It was kind of terrible. That could have been called Pinky and the Brain Plus, because they added another character from a different show.
I guess that's just them letting you know that it's on Disney Plus exclusively, but that's weird. I don't like including Plus in the names.
I don't either, but if they'd done it from the beginning, it would be more understandable, I guess. Right? Where it's like, it's like Mario 64, et cetera, all the titles that use the system name. Okay, we've got 3 minutes before we hit 2 hours, and Tom just threw in another super chat. Thanks, Tom.
All right, he says that I got a free sub to Paramount Plus through Walmart Plus.
Oh, what's Walmart Plus?
Wow, you had to subscribe to Walmart Plus to get Paramount Plus. Was it worth it? Because what the heck is Walmart Plus?
Is that like a Prime sort of service where you get free shipping and stuff from Walmart, I would imagine?
I don't know. I know that Walmart owns Vudu, however you say that.
Vudu. Well, it is Voodoo, but I'm going to say it like that from now on.
I didn't know if it was like a pun on watching things. Yeah, I don't know.
Did I say Elvira? I meant Elmira. I'm pretty sure I said Elmira. Yeah, no, you're right, HB Haga. Elvira would be a completely different show. That is not what I meant. Okay, guys, we're going to have to go ahead and close up shop right now. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed tonight's edition of the Captain Logan Show. And thanks for all of the information that I didn't have about extra D23 things. DJ, I made it through most of my list before we hit that 25-minute mark. I felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, you did great. You did wonderful. And the timer will be a full time. We'll be back every episode now.
Oh God, it's not a bad idea. When I'm not having to like rapid fire through things, it probably wouldn't be as hectic. But just in my brain, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through everything. I can't even think of words, but we got through it. I made comments about everything that I had up and that I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure there's stuff people wanted me to talk about that I didn't hit, but I hit quite a few things. Thursday night, no idea yet what the lead-in topic will be. If you think of something going on in the news or just a cool topic that you think would be interesting for me to talk about, a good place to get a hold of me or where I'll see it is the news section, the news tab over on the the public Geekvolution Discord. It's free. You don't have to be a patron to use it, and a lot of the articles that I talked about today came from there. Not all of them. I did some homework, but there were several things, including the Gargoyles video game news that I didn't know about that somebody posted there. So if there's news that you want me to consider talking about on the show, put that there, and leave comments after the fact with ideas for future shows, and I might consider them. Thanks a lot, once again, everybody, for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Austin and I are doing a request, and it's on a movie from 1992, and I do not right off the top of my head remember what the movie is.
It's John Turtletop's Three Ninjas.
It is not. I know you want that really badly, but
only if Eric's there. I gotta talk about
The Crying Game is the movie from 1992, which Roger Ebert called one of the best movies of that year. That's all I know about it. So I'm interested to see that. I guess it's a thriller. That's what I know. I go into most of these things blind, but I was looking that up just to see how to stream it. It's on Max or something. It's streamable somewhere. And I saw a quote somewhere. Roger Ebert called it one of the best movies of the year. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So I'm going to watch that tonight. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Thursday night, Captain Logan show. Friday night, we're going to talk about that new superhero movie from Sylvester Stallone. I think it's called Samaritan. Is that right? I said the other day that it was the same thing that Diggle called himself in the Arrowverse, which is not true. He was Spartan. I missed that. I got that wrong. But his name really should have just been Diggle's dumb helmet, because his helmet was dumb. And anyway, in the meantime, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys had a good time, and I'll see you again real soon with lots more stuff here on the Geekvolutions. I'm Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez.
Bye, guys.
Later, folks.